Tonight, let us study about the method of our Buddha's practice of meditation. In Buddha's own word, Buddha said, Buddha so bhagava bodhaya dhammante siddhi. Meaning, he said, after practicing and realizing the true Dhamma, Buddha preached it to the people so that they may, like himself, practice and realize the Dhamma as much as they can. Buddha's Dhamma is not mere speculation or theoretical. He practiced it himself, and on realizing it to be the truth, then he preached it. So every being who is capable of thinking should practice it devoutly and seriously. Before his attainment to full enlightenment, the Bodhisattva, that is Buddha to be, by his sublime knowledge came to know that all beings, including himself, were reborn again and again due to commission of deeds with attachment. The Bodhisattva, by his divine eye, saw that beings after death were reborn in accordance with their deeds. Every time one sees, hears, touches, and cognizes, there arises desire and attachment on the physical and mental phenomena. On account of this desire and attachment, there is rebirth, and due to rebirth, one has to undergo the suffering of old age, disease, death, etc., again and again. Whenever one sees, hears, touches, and cognizes, if one can take note of the nature of arising and passing away, no desire and attachment will arise, and consequently there will be no rebirth, old age, sickness, and death, etc. Thus, there is the extinction of this whole mass of suffering. Bodhisattva, on having realized thus, continuously meditated on the nature of arising and passing away of the 5 groups of grasping, Panchuparanakanda. The Bodhisattva, after reflecting on how the suffering arose and ceased, he meditated on the arising and passing away of physical and mental phenomena. While thus meditating, before long, his mind became completely detached, and he gained deliverance from all defilements. That is, attained arhata, path, and fruition knowledge, and he became a Samma Sambuddha. In this practice, one has to take note of the true nature of arising and passing away of physical and mental phenomena taking place in one's own body at the time of their occurrence. If no noting is made at the time of their occurrence, one is likely to mistake them as permanent happiness and ego entity. Because no noting was made at the moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, they were not correctly seen and were mistaken to be happiness and ego, and thus clinging to them arose. The clinging in Pali is called upadana. The physical and mental phenomena which are subject to clinging are called upadanakanda. Because no proper noting was made of these physical and mental phenomena at the moment of their occurrence, clinging arises, and these, either bad or good, are committed. And every existence at the time of the approaching death, the deed or karma, the symbol of the karma nimitta, or an indication of one's next birth, gati nimitta, becomes an object of one's consciousness which influences one's next rebirth. On account of rebirth, one has to suffer old age, sickness, death, etc. So, for the extinction of attachment and clinging, for the cessation of the 5 groups of grasping, Panchupada Nakana, and thus to escape from all suffering, the Bodhisattva meditated on the arising and passing away of physical and mental phenomena at the time of their occurrence. While thus meditating, extraordinary insight knowledge developed in him, and after attaining the Arhata path and fruition knowledge, he became a fully enlightened one, a Samma Sambuddha. After becoming a supremely enlightened one, the Buddha preached the first sermon popularly known as the Turning of the Wheel, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, so that beings may practice meditation on the arising and passing away of the 5 groups of grasping, Panchupada Nakana. And after developing the extraordinary insight knowledge, realize Nibbana through the path and fruition knowledge, and thus gain deliverance from all suffering, like himself. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is mentioned that the middle way, Majjhima Patipada, found out by our Lord Buddha, causes the eye of wisdom and knowledge to arise. Here, the eye of wisdom and knowledge means insight knowledge and path and fruition knowledge. It also clarifies that the middle way means the Eightfold Noble Path. The correct awareness of seeing, hearing, etc. is also the Eightfold Noble Path. What our meditators here meditating according to our instruction is the development of the Eightfold Noble Path, and we have many times identified for you how to verify in your practical meditation. The effort to make note of seeing, hearing, etc. is right effort, Samma Vayama. The awareness of seeing, hearing, etc. is right mindfulness, Samma Sammasati. The continuous keeping of the mind on the object of meditation is right concentration, Samma Samadhi. These 3 belong to the section concentration, and they are called Samadhi Maggangas, concentration group. As and when this concentration becomes stronger, insight knowledge develops as follows. As mentioned in the Satipatthana Sutta, whenever one is mindful of walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, or moving, touching, or rising, falling of the abdomen, etc., one can discriminate movement as physical phenomena and the awareness of them as mental phenomena, thus distinguishing between mind and matter. This is the knowledge distinguishing between mind and matter, and Pali we call Nama Rupa Pariccheda Jnana. The knowledge arises at the beginning of good concentration. When our meditators note the intentions before the actual action, you can come to know that because of intention to move, movement arises. Because of intention to sit, sitting arises. Because there is object to touch, touching sensation arises. Because there is something to take note of, noting arises. Because there is a will to take note, the noting takes place. This is understanding of the relationship between cause and effect. It is the second insight knowledge, called the knowledge distinguishing between cause and effect, Pacca Parikaha Jnana. When concentration becomes stronger and every act of noting, instantaneous arising and passing away of both the object noted and the awareness of it becomes evident. On seeing thus, by the right knowledge, there arises a reflection. Things are neither permanent nor pleasurable, but unsatisfactory. Life is simply phenomena, and there is no ego or personal entity. This reflection arises from personal experiences. It is a knowledge of comprehension, Sammasana Jnana. It is also Vipassana Samadhi Maganga, meaning mundane right understanding. After that, there arises a knowledge in which instantaneous arising and passing away of whatever object noted is evident in every act of noting. It is the knowledge of arising and passing away. In Pali we call Udaya Paya Jnana. When this knowledge arises, the body seems to be very light, and both the body and mind are at ease. Noting becomes good and pleasant feelings arise. This is also Vipassana Samadhi Maganga, right understanding. Then there arises a knowledge in which only instantaneous dissolution of objects noted is evident. And every act of noting, it is the extraordinary insight knowledge known as the knowledge of dissolution, Bhanga Jnana. Then there follow the knowledges in which in every act of noting, the knowledge of fearfulness, Bhaya Jnana, the knowledge of misery, Adinava Jnana, and the knowledge of disenchantment, Nibbida Jnana. They are all Vipassana Samadhi Magangas. Then a distinctive knowledge arises where bodily and mental processes, sankharas, are perceived without much effort and with equanimity. It is the knowledge of equanimity about formations, Sankharupika Jnana. This also is Vipassana Samadhi Maganga. From the knowledge of distinguishing between mind and matter up to the knowledge of equanimity about formations, the inclination of the mind onto the object of meditation so as to develop mundane right understanding is mundane right thought, Vipassana Sama Sankappa Maganga, which arises in every act of noting. The mundane right understanding and right thought, they belong to the section of wisdom or Panya Maganga. The development of the insight knowledges up to the Sankharupika Jnana are based on the 3 Samadhi Magangas and 2 Panya Magangas. This is in conformity with the teaching in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which says that the middle way causes the eye of wisdom to arise. Right speech, Samavacha. Right action, Samakamanta, and right livelihood, Samaajiva. They belong to the section morality or Sila group. By taking the precept and observing it strictly, or in a meditation retreat, these Sila Magangas are accomplished. The 3 Samadhi Magangas, 2 Panya Magangas, and 3 Sila Magangas, in other words, are called the middle path, or Eightfold Magangas. Continuous noting on every act of seeing, hearing, touching, thinking, develops new Eightfold Megangas. This development of new Eightfold Megangas, beginning from the knowledge of distinguishing between mind and matter, up to the knowledge of equanimity about formations, amounts to the arising of the eye of wisdom. When this eye of wisdom, or mundane wisdom, is matured, Nibbana is realized through supramundane path and fruition knowledge, Ariya Mega and Phala Jnana. The Bodhisattva, by practicing the middle way or Eightfold Noble Path, he developed the insight knowledge, and after attaining the Arhata path and fruition knowledge, he became a Sama Sambuddha, or supremely enlightened one. After becoming a supreme Buddha, he preached the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, so that others may, like himself, realize Nibbana through the Ariya Mega and Phala Jnana, by meditating on the arising and passing away of physical and mental phenomena. And the Satipatthana Sutta, which we have many times explained to you all, the method how to practice insight meditation or Vipassana Bhavana is explained in detail. It is divided into 4 main divisions, namely 1. Kaya Nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation of the body or bodily phenomena. That is mindfulness meditation of bodily activities such as walking, standing, sitting and lying down. 2. Vedana Nupassana Satipatthana, contemplation of the feelings or sensations. That is mindfulness noting of feelings such as pleasurable sensation, unpleasurable sensation, neither pleasant nor unpleasant sensation. Then 3. Contemplation of the mind or Citta Nupassana Satipatthana, mindfulness meditation on thoughts such as thinking, reflecting, etc. And 4. Contemplation of the mind objects, Dhamma Nupassana Satipatthana, that is mindful meditation of seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting, etc. Buddha said that the 4 foundations of mindfulness is the only way. He said Ekayana means the only way to attain the path knowledge and to realize Nibbana. Sanyaya sa adhikamaya, Nibbana sa sichikriyaya. Since the Buddha had claimed that this is the only way, it must be remembered that no other way can lead to the attainment of Mega, Phala, path and fruition and Nibbana, so as to escape from all sufferings and to attain the Mega, Phala and Nibbana, path, fruition and Nibbana. One must practice this mindfulness meditation to the best of one's ability. And noting sitting meditation, the rising, falling of the abdomen. Try to follow the rising movement from the beginning to the end, and the same with falling movement. The awareness of this movement by mindful noting amounts to knowing of the element of motion, vaya dhatu, and its ultimate reality. According to the Satipatthana Sutta, this is contemplation of the body or Kaya Nupassana. While thus noting the abdominal movement, if thought or reflection arises, take note of it. This is contemplation of the mind, Citta Nupassana Satipatthana. Then continue the noting of the primary object of the rising and falling of the abdominal movement. While noting it, if pain or other sensation like aches, numbness arises, take a note of it. This is contemplation of the feelings or sensations. Vedana-nupassana satipatthana. After noting that for some time, then go back to the noting of the rising and falling of the abdomen. If hearing arises, take note of it, then go back to the main object. If seeing arises, take note of it, then go back to main object. And this is contemplation of the mind object, Dhamma-nupassana satipatthana. By thus meditating, one is developing the good deed of insight meditation in accordance with the teaching of our Lord Buddha. While thus noting with the improvement of concentration, knowledge distinguishing between mind and matter, knowledge of cause and effect, knowledge of arising and passing away, knowledge of impermanency, unsatisfactoriness, and egolessness may arise, and Nibbana realized through path and fruition knowledge. So by practicing this mindfulness meditation as we are given full instruction, by the method explained already now and then, to the best of your abilities, may all our addict meditators be able to realize the Nibbana in the very near future.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Idami punya. Nibbanasa Pacayo Hotu Idami punya Yatinang Hotu Sukita Hontu Nyatayo Imano Punya Baga Sabha Satana Tema Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be happy. May you all be healthy. May you all be free from suffering. May you all attain eternal peace or Nibbana in the shortest possible time.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.